Thanks to our sponsor today, Arbleast, the UK's leading business finance broker for the ARB industry. If you're looking to finance a new or used machine, get an instant finance estimate from Arbleast. Find hundreds of trusted machines at arbleast.co.uk or source a machine yourself from any dealer or private seller. Arbleast will spread the cost of ownership with competitive, affordable monthly payments at a market-leading low fixed rate. Play online 24/7 at arbleast.co.uk. Arbleast is 100% impartial and 100% ARB. Welcome to episode 12 of the All Things Odd podcast. This week I'm joined by the man himself, Doug Ghinn from Först Woodchippers. Doug, thank you for coming on the podcast.
No worries, Tom. Good to see you.
So Först has been a bit of a dominant brand in the last couple of years. You go back to, was it 2013, 2012, 2013 when you first started?
Yeah, 2013 was the launch. Yeah, obviously there was things going on behind the scenes before then, but yeah.
Yeah, well, apparently a lot went on behind the scenes before then. So what I want to know, because we've spoke a couple of times at the trade shows, but I've never really had a chance to have a one-on-one call like this. What did you do before you joined Forst?
Okay, well, I didn't join Forst exactly. I guess I've been in chippers ever since I came out of college, so as you probably know, you may know Redwood, which is the owner of Forst, so that's our company, if you like. Forst's a brand of Redwood Global. And we used to bring a range of machines in from Germany. Jensen chippers, you're probably familiar with that. Yep. So I've been around chippers ever since I came out of college. And then obviously that's kind of moved into building the Forst machines, which is obviously a bit of a longer story, which I guess you might want to know more about. In 2013, yeah.
You're at Redwood Global, who had the conversation, or where did it go where you were sitting around one day going, right, I think we can do a better job. Let's go start a woodchipper.
Yeah, no, it wasn't quite like that at all, actually. And I'm quite glad there's an opportunity to perhaps put a few things to bed out there. Because there's been lots of stories rattling around. So we worked closely with Jensen for many years. I think 93, I think it was. Redwood first started bringing Jensens into the UK. And, you know, we worked very, very closely with the guys at Jensen. I think it was 2011, back into 2011, early 2012. They called us across there for a meeting, and we had a whopping price increase, like a big price increase, which wasn't sustainable. We weren't going to survive in the game, considering we were doing nothing else. We were just woodchippers, and Jensen was our core franchise. It wasn't going to stand up, especially when we were selling against UK built competition, which was substantially cheaper anyway. So we actually, over a couple of months, we went backwards and forwards, had some negotiation. And we actually, I think I've still got the meeting notes here somewhere. We sat around the table with Jensen over there in Germany, and we agreed with them that we would build a smaller machine, or like a 6-inch capacity machine, ourselves, and we would continue to sell their larger range, because they do big stuff up to drum chippers. Yeah. You know, we did a lot of their 9-inch products, and the likes 8 inches, obviously. So that is how it set out. So we said, right, we'll go away, we'll build something ourselves, which kind of fits that into the market, which can compete with the UK guys, and we'll continue to sell your bigger stuff. And that's how we kicked off, and we did it successfully for a good 12 months. Our Jensen sales actually went up in the UK with that, because we had, you know, a product for both ends of the market, both ends for a smaller and a larger product. So that was how it started out, and then, you know, as time moved on, you know, we got into it, we launched our own brand, Forst, in 2013, and frankly it took off a lot better than we perhaps even thought it would ourselves.
Yeah.
And you know, it got a bit further down the line, and I think Jensen weren't too comfortable with it, understandably, and they ended up saying goodbye to us, so we cracked on and went our separate ways. So that's the facts of what happened.
All right, because I've always wondered, because it was a case of Forst didn't exist, and then everyone seems to be driving around with a Forst chipper all of a sudden. It was a bit of like a unicorn type business. It just came out of nowhere, and you've been dominant for the last couple of years. Where did the name Forst actually come from? Because I know I struggled just coming up with my company name.
Right.
It's like, I'm not a massive global brand like Forst is.
Yeah, so interesting one. There were many a conversation around that, as you can probably imagine. You know, some people wanted to paint it blue and red and call it a British Bulldog. Others wanted to, you know, perhaps be a little bit broader than that. You know, we've always had our sights set from day one. You know, when we realised we could do it, and we had the passion there to do our own thing and build our own machine, and, you know, be the best in the market. We always had our sights set on a global level, especially Europe, obviously, where there's a lot of kit sold in Europe. So the whole thing, I mean, you know, we've done that too. As you know, we've got a German business, we've got our own people there, and obviously with the new European production as well. And it actually means, I don't know if you know what it means, it actually means first in some of the European, Swedish, it's first in Swedish, for instance. And you take the umlauts off the O, those two little dots above the O, you take those away, it means forest. So it kind of works in those regards. We wanted to make it, we didn't want to sound too local and too British, we want to be a bit broader than that, and obviously that's where the bigger markets are. So, bit of a branding thing really, but that's where it came from, yeah.
Because it's always interesting to see where any business comes up with the name, because a lot of businesses, they'll have like quite common names like Four Seasons, Tree Surgeons, and you go, well, that's not quite original. And then you look at the really large organisations in the industry still, Husqvarna, there's always a story behind where that name come from, and it's always interesting to actually go, well, it's something I see every day. Where did the name come from?
Yeah.
So it's quite
there's no rocket science behind it. It was more just a bit of a light bulb moment one day when we were sat around and
Yeah. So obviously you started working with Jensen back in the day, and did the foundations of the wood chippers come from there? So you already had an idea how to build them. You would already be able to go into production as such. What else did Jensen help with back then?
Yeah, well, nothing as such. We didn't actually work, when it came to actually designing our own machine, we didn't work with Jensen at all on that. Obviously, they knew we were doing it.
Yeah.
I guess because we've been doing it for such a long time, and one of our, how we differ to some of the others out there is we sell direct to the end user in England and Wales. So we deal with a lot of end user clients, and we bring a lot of machines back in part exchange. So because of that contact with the market, we know what's good and bad of everything out there. You know, there's nothing we didn't be talking to those guys every day. So it kind of gave us a good place to start. Obviously selling a Jensen machine as well. You know, a few little niggles we came across. We thought, right, you know, we think we can, this is what we need to do. So we literally started from the ground up and built a machine, which kind of ticked those boxes, if you like, and that's kind of how it came about.
Did you ever have any, like, the other competitors in the industry go, hang on, we think these guys are infringing on our patents, that chip shoot diagonal looks ever so slightly like ours. Was there any of that type of rivalry at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no patents that really apply. I mean, a wood chipper is a wood chipper. Obviously, there's different bits and bobs about all of them, and they do, you know, got good things about everyone's machines out there. No, we never had. We all get on pretty well, to be fair, us in the competition. But no, there was never anything like that. No, that cropped up. No.
So colours, everyone likes a nice shiny wood chipper. Where did the orange and black come from? Did you paint the chippers different colours to see? Or was it a case of, right, we know what we want, we know what our end user colours, what they like, we'll go with the orange and black? What was the thought behind that?
Yeah, interesting. It started off as orange and grey. We're all orange and black now, but initially we were orange and grey. That's another one. Again, that was another thing for debate around the table many a time. If you think, orange is a very arb colour, isn't it? And you've already mentioned Stihl, Husqvarna, you know, some of those brands. It is a very orange industry, if you like. As you already said, there's a couple of guys out there that are orange already. And when you look at it, most of the colours are used up. So whatever colour you paint it's going to be the same as someone. So and I think also playing on that thing with the relationship we have with Jensen, you know, if we were going out there, we were selling two products alongside each other, then, you know, there was a kind of bit of a natural synergy there anyway. But no, I think, you know, we introduced a lot more grey onto our machine at the time. A lot of the other machines out there are solid colours, where we brought a lot more grey in. And yeah, that was kind of what we fixed on the way we decided to run, yeah.
So obviously, the last couple of years, you look at who's on the market at the moment. Forst clearly is the number one to go-to chipper. Every time I go up and down the motorways to meetings, I'll see an orange chipper, and it's either going to be a Timberwolf or it's going to be a Forst. Forst are more and more becoming the go-to chipper. Can you give us some insider secrets to where you launched in 2013, your competitors have been around for years and years, and you've managed to basically overtake most of them and get right to the top?
Yeah, I mean, interesting one. I mean, if you, end of the day, it's customers, isn't it? You know, that's what does it. People, if you talk about leader, whatever you want to call that, whether you talk about that in numbers of machines made or whether you talk about it in terms of revenue, those two things obviously go along side by side. It's all about the people that are buying them at the end of the day, because without customers, you're not going to get that. So, and that is the case too. Yeah, I mean, you know, you look at it, if you go back, anyone can go nip onto a company's house and have a look and see how everyone tracks alongside each other.
Yeah.
And the data on there is a little bit old now. It's like, well, it's always 12 months out of date, so it's 2019, 2020 numbers you look at when you look on there now. But we are pretty much twice the size of anyone else in the UK now, our largest competitor. So it's customers purchasing the kit, And also, you can't. Also, I'm a big fan for getting the right people in the right seats in the business too. And if you get the right people in the right seats, then that reflects in great product, great customer service, and kind of away you go. But ultimately, customers are buying kit, and they buy kit because that's the machine they want to choose to buy, and it is a great performing product. We've not been without our challenges, and no doubt you'll come on to that a bit later.
Yeah, we've got a couple of viewer questions to ask about that, but the next question will be about the Forst Assist.
Yeah.
Now, not a lot of manufacturers offer like a real aftercare service, and one of the questions I've got is they actually rave about an aftercare service, and you think, right, I'm going to go spend 30 grand on a chip. I don't want to be ringing the service team to come out every 5 minutes to fix it. But if there has been a problem, you do have a great backup support service. Was that one of the main things at the start to say, right, we've got a good sales team, we've got a good product, we need to be able to deliver the aftercare sales as well to match that?
Absolutely. I mean, any product is only as good as the service backup supply, isn't it? And it's a machine at the end of the day. Absolutely. And whatever, machine is always going to have issues sometimes, always going to need servicing, is always going to need spare parts, and you can't get away from that. So we absolutely see the after-sales service as important as the product itself. And we understand who our customers are, as I've already said. We do understand our customers very well, and we always say it's a bit like a chipper to a tree surgeon is a bit like an aeroplane to an airliner, isn't it? If it ain't working, they're not working. So we understand that. As I say, we haven't always got it right. We hands up with on the first one to admit that. But looking after customers is absolutely our number one priority. So if we don't do that, we won't get the next sale. And we do get a mighty lot of repeat business because people come back to us because they know we'll look after them, and it's a trust thing. It's a relationship.
Yeah. So going forward, obviously a lot of people are looking at these now stage 5, which has just recently come in. What does that mean to a tree surgeon? Do they have to stop using the products they've got and switch over to make sure they're all stage 5 compliant? Or is it a case of going forward, can't buy any wood chippers that aren't compliant? So you've got to look towards the new aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. So it doesn't affect anything that's already out there on the market. If you've got an older machine, then absolutely you can still keep using it. That's no problem. The regulation is all about that date, which was set back in 2019. This is when it was set for, and and now we're in that period. Now there was a transition period where you could fit older engines, and everyone ran around and bought stock up. But now we're in that. We're in that now. From anything over 25 horsepower, in diesel has got to have a DPF filter on it to make it comply. Absolutely. But to be honest, on that DPF, I don't know if you have any more DPF questions or not, but it's actually, I personally think it's been overrated quite massively, this whole the concerns around DPF. I mean, DPF is not new technology. DPF's been around since 2006 in your diesel car. It's been in construction, it's been in agriculture, it's been in these different sectors for a long time. And ARB's a very small sector. And if you look at it, we all know that it's a bit of a pocket universe, isn't it? Someone called it to me the other day. And so it's nothing to be scared of, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a natural progression. You wouldn't even know once you've got a DPF in your chipper, you wouldn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think a few tree surgeons who are concerned about it's going to set us over the 750 kilo mark. It's just another thing to go wrong. And like you said, they've been on construction machines and they've been in diesel vehicles for a lot longer. It's not like it's new technology coming onto a wood chipper where it's a case of, we'll see how long it lasts for.
No, certainly it isn't. I mean, and also on that 750 point, you won't get a DPF 750 diesel chipper. That doesn't exist, not to my knowledge, because it is a bigger engine, it's heavier. The DPF also got weight to it. So anything 750 diesel, we don't actually do one of those. You probably know that. Our 750 is the petrol machine, but a 750 diesel chipper now will be 24 horsepower or below, because that's the way it is. But just on that point of that DPF thing, I think also we're quite because it's a small industry. There are no massive players making wood chippers in this country. We're not like automotive. We haven't got huge engineering teams behind us because we're all relatively smaller companies. So when it comes to something like changing that, we focused on that. We knew the industry wouldn't just roll over to petrol across the board, and we do a petrol sub 750, but we knew that it wouldn't. Not everyone's going to sit down to petrol 8-inch. So we focused our energy on that and we delivered it. And that's kind of because we put the focus into it because we knew it would be important. But when it comes to, there's rumours out there about being dangerous because it gets hot and all those kind of things. It's a load of nonsense to my mind.
So talking about planning, I noticed you guys, you just recently launched. Is it another manufacturing facility in Europe?
That's right. Absolutely, yes.
How much planning goes into that? At what stage do you go, right, we've conquered the UK, we're really making traction to Europe, let's go start another factory? Because it can't be a small decision.
No, you're right there. Certainly not a small decision. I mean, kind of one which is logical. With the volume of machinery we're putting out now is substantial. We've just had our 2020, despite the pandemic and everything else, has been a record year in terms of orders in for the business by quite a hefty stretch, and there's no way we're going to make all that in our Andover factory. And a lot more, percentage-wise, a lot more of that is obviously going overseas now, because there's not a huge amount more to go and get in the UK. So putting a plant over there in Europe is absolutely the sensible thing to do. Because that's where a lot of the kit's staying anyway, if that makes sense. It makes, yeah.
Is there any plans of going on the other side of the pond over to Canada and America, for instance? Because I know, like in America, it's like 10-inch wood chippers. You don't get anything smaller. But I kind of always feel there's got to be a need for a slightly smaller machine over there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We've actually got a dealer in Canada now. I'm working with another guy at the moment. We've got wheels in motion with another guy on the East Coast. Because there is opportunities there without a shadow of a doubt. The Americans are a huge market, as you say. They very much focus on big chippers. But then we've had a lot of success in Australia, and they kind of have the same mentality. It's all go over there. It's all big chippers. And we put a machine in there, and it's got a bit of a niche market. And we sell some kit over there. So step at a time, I think. But I think probably in time.
So will Forst only ever do wood chippers, or will they go, you know what, I think it's time for us to do a stump grinder next?
Yeah, I knew that question would be coming up. Yes, I don't want to say too much about that. I can absolutely tell you, yes, we're not just staying in wood chippers. There will be some other things coming along. In terms of what that is, we'll have to wait till another day. We'll have to do another one of these.
I'll pester you at the next half show to see what's coming along. So on to our viewer questions. I know you've been dreading this bit a little.
Oh, you're looking forward to it, actually.
You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Right, so the first one, what's the most common fault you repair under warranty?
Wow, okay. What's the most common fault we repair under warranty? I don't think I can really pick anything particular out, to be honest. We obviously do have our faults, and you're aware of that. If I was to pick a particular one, I guess I could go away and do that analysis. Nothing springs to mind, to be honest, so I'm going to have to sort of swerve around that one a little bit.
Okay. When will they look at doing an online part shop for spares?
Great question. Absolutely. Whoever asked that question is obviously feeling he wants to order his parts in the evening, like we all do when we're Tree Surgeons do. It's on the way, absolutely.
Good
Can't put a date on it, but it will be coming, absolutely, yeah.
With everything else going electric in the industry, chainsaws going electric, there's a company over in, I can't think off the top of my head, they've come out with a bit of an electric wood chipper. Is there any plans for Forst to make an electric chipper?
I think you'd probably be more surprised if I said no to that question, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I think any manufacturer who's growing and who wants to, keep growing, is absolutely going to have that on there, at least going around in their brain cells at the moment. In the way the world is. So yeah, absolutely. No, we are looking at that. I can't put a timescale on that at all.
So much behind closed doors, isn't there?
Yeah, there's so much behind. Well, I mean, also technology. I mean, the battery technology is moving so quickly. Electric technology is moving quickly. And you mentioned the guys that make one already. I've seen it working. And I wouldn't want to put a Forst brand on something at the moment which I didn't think was 100% all the way there. Once we're confident we've got it 100% right and we can storm it, then you'll have one, yeah.
Go for it. Okay. Next question: do they plan on building a bigger machine such as a T10 or a TR10?
Interesting one. Well, it's interesting the way that you're certainly seeing more bigger kit in the UK these days than we used to, aren't we? Out there, our bread and butter is obviously 6 and 8 inch product, and there's a lot more to be done with that yet. Again, I wouldn't say if you're looking to purchase a chipper at the moment, a bigger chipper, then don't hold your breath for us.
Yeah.
But I'm not like all the other new product development. It's all about getting the priorities right, doing the stuff in the right order. So no, you won't be seeing one of those from us anytime very soon.
Ah, that's a shame. Another guy has asked, have they sold many of the turntable machines? I like the look of them, but not seen many around.
Now, you won't see many around because they're not actually out being delivered yet. So we've also got the TT6, which is the machine you'll be talking about, the sub 750 petrol machine. We're demonstrating it, we're taking orders for it, but we're not actually delivering it that yet. We have had some challenges, what with the joys of COVID and supply chain and all those kind of things. It has put the handbrake on that a little bit. Not the handbrake, but it's slowed things up a little bit on that. So, that shouldn't be too far away now. So you should start seeing behind trucks pretty soon because there's a fair number of them in the order book. We're just not out there delivering them yet.
So this one made me chuckle when it first came in. When are Forst planning on launching in Hawaii?
Hawaii?
Yeah.
Wonder where that came from. Perhaps there's someone in Hawaii who wants a Forst chipper. I've got to say, that's one question I can give you a straight answer to, and I don't think any time very soon on that one.
No, Sam, soon.
Don't have a plan for that at the moment.
So this one's coming from one of my mates who actually owns a Forst machine. He owns the XR8.
Okay.
Are they thinking about putting a fast track mode on future models of the XR8 as it is properly slow?
I wonder, do you know how old his machine is?
I think it's probably less than 2 years old.
Okay, because some of the later ones are absolutely faster than the original ones. They're still not rocket ships, though, absolutely. Some machines, as you know, have like a 2-speed tracking. The trouble is when you get the second speed, you do lose quite a bit of torque on that system. So it's fine on the flat going along a straight line, but not so good otherwise. Again, that is feedback we've absolutely had several times. And we are actively working with the hydraulics guys on that and making a machine which has got speed and torque, because that's the ideal solution. So we're working on that one.
Right, Rory, if you're listening, there you go. I've asked it, mate. Get it sorted. Okay, so here's another one. This is probably the most common one that everyone has hounded you with. What is it with the paintwork? Is that still an issue?
Right, paintwork. So everyone knows, or if those that have had some of the earlier machines, yes, we did have some paintwork challenges. I'm the first one to absolutely admit that. Why wouldn't you? Paintwork has hugely improved. We still have batch problems every now and then, and because of the nature of paint, it's not actually the paint itself. It generally comes down to preparation of steel. It's actually keying onto the steel, which we have problems with. It is massively better than it was. With different processes. The e-coat process is the same process they use on cars, where it's like electrically charged and then painted on top. So yes, we have had paint problems. It is a lot better. We don't have anything like we went through a patch. We had a nightmare with paint, but we were pleased to know things were a lot better on that front. Absolutely.
Good. So quite a long question, but it's quite interesting. So one of our subscribers have asked, having had a very expensive experience with Timberwolf with their non-existent after service, I then bought one of the first ST6Ps, I think number 20 off the line. The machine let me down more times than I care to mention. I finally threw in the towel after 2 years. I just couldn't rely on it. My next machine was another ST6P because of the excellent second to none after service. Me and my machine are very happy together and only had minor hiccups, but I have peace of mind that if X hits the fan, I can rely on them, unlike Timberwolf.
Okay. Now, did you say you had one and you had problems with it and you had to trade it for another one? Is that what you said? Okay. I think I might know who you're talking about there. I may do. There's obviously lots of chippers out there, but if they had that many problems with the first one, then I think you might, because I remember this fellow and I remember he did have a lot of problems. That's what we'll do. That fellow, if he's who I'm thinking he is, he had a ridiculous amount of problems, and why? Don't know. So we did a cracking deal for him to trade that out for a new one, and he's seeing the proper Forst now that isn't giving him those issues. And again, it's the after sales service which people come back for. That's a proof of it, that people actually want to stick with you because of the service you give. Because he mentioned there, other machines have problems too. So we're not alone in having some challenges.
Friends, Doug, that's everything I've got for you. I really do appreciate you coming on the podcast and answering those questions. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way that they can do it?
So obviously pick up the good old telephone, I'd say, especially if you've got some challenges, if you've got some problems, pick up the phone to our guys in our Forst Assist team. They know what they're talking about. They're a cracking bunch of guys, and they will go over and above. A massive majority of things that come in, we can fix over the telephone anyway. So talk to those guys if you've got a problem. If you haven't got a problem and you want to obviously look at buying a machine, then we've obviously, as we've already said, we sell direct across the UK and Wales. We have a dealer in Scotland. And we've got a team of sales guys who will be very willing to help you out. So call in. Otherwise, obviously, visit our website. We've got a new website actually. It's not been up long. Nice looking site. Get on there, check it out. Make an inquiry through there. All the reps' phone numbers are on there, mobile numbers, so it's easy for you to get in touch. Or give me a shout. Absolutely. You know, you can. I'm glad to chat to anyone in ARB because at the end of the day, we all want to just keep getting better and better at what we do. So, yeah, give us a shout.
Brilliant, Doug. Appreciate it. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, Tom. Thank you very much.